It's not. If somebody asked me the question about give you $1 million or quit your job, oh, I'll take the $1 million and run. Okay.
Purpose driven living, that's the motto. Purpose driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose driven.
That's good. I want to kind of pivot just a little bit. And so, you reference your interest or the work that you do in higher education, obviously with diversity and inclusion, student programming, being a career development professional. I'm just curious to hear, how did you get to where you are really when it comes to you from starting out from, going to college to getting where you are professionally? What was sort of that road like for you figuring out this is what I want to do, but obviously you're still working towards developing your career?
I mean, if I have to be honest.
Be honest, yes.
This ain't what I love.
Yeah.
I'm getting a check every month that's paying my bills and keeping consistent income for myself and my child. And and when you weigh the options of just being a independent artist, it costs a whole lot more for medical insurance and all this.
That's right. No, that's honest. I appreciate that.
I like it enough that I don't feel like I'm, just, oh my God, another day. I don't wake up like that, but I don't love it. It's not, if somebody asked me the question about give you $1 million or quit your job, oh, I'll take the $1 million and run, okay? Okay, it'd be a whole nother story.
That's right.
But when I started in college, like I said, I started as an English major. That's all that I knew that I loved to write. Right. But then I took my first college English class.
Hey family, it's your boy Quintrell Lenore here with brand new merch to keep you guys looking good this season. We have long sleeve, short sleeve, as well as hoodies. Check us out at gumroad.com/PDL apparel. We got all the swag you need to stay covered in purpose.
English 28A, Poetic Imagination. See, I was traumatized. I remember all about it.
Oh,
and
man.
after the first couple of weeks of all that Shakespeare and I bow, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
This ain't it. Oh, snap.
And I didn't even want to give it. I just knew that was my entrance to college English, and I didn't want no more. So
yeah.
I also took my intro class to African American Studies, and I quickly switched my majors because I don't know many high schools or elementary schools that really have consistent curriculum or coursework in ethnic studies or anything like that. So that was my first introduction to. I didn't even know people do this. They teach you about your history. Like, this is amazing. So I switched my major real fast after I got that F in English. I said, I can't keep doing it.
You were able to learn and pivot. That's right. Well,
first of all, my mom and daddy gonna whoop my ass. Coming home with them one-legged A's.
That's right.
I said, let me find me a major that's gonna work for me. And I loved it. And I made so many connections with my professors, the faculty instruction and things like that, even some that have continued on to now. I thought I wanted to be a professor because of that, but I don't want to do that either because I went on to get my master's in cultural studies with an emphasis in Africana studies and with gender studies. And after that, I said, well, I wrote a whole thesis. That was enough. I don't need to do a dissertation. I don't want to do this no more. Yeah. And it cost a whole lot of money. So I said I wanted to do something where I would still be able to have that level of, I guess, instruction in some ways, because I wanted to teach. And I also at the same time, like I said, in college is where I was starting to get on stage with the poetry and feeling that out and liking it. And also I always was had an affinity to kind of organizing stuff and planning. So there was the student programming, this part. So everything just kind of went together in some ways where, I got a job. My first job in higher education was under student activities office, but I pretty much was over all of the cultural awareness events or programs. And so that was kind of my first little toe in the water. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I'm definitely interested in that portion, I guess, of higher education in the diversity and inclusion work.
Right.
So that's why I do that on my own now.
Yeah.
The trainings I offer, workshop facilitation or keynote engagements, even sometimes with just my performance, I feel like there's always some element of education and entertainment within it. Because I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about my lived experience. But I am my ancestors' wildest dream. So I can't talk about me without talking about them. So there's always some level of how did I get here? I get here.
I can hear if you don't mind, so it's funny because as I hear you talk a little bit more about your career story, I see the professional interest with the sort of the ethnic studies, the Africana, the diversity and inclusion. Like there's congruence in there because you obviously you're as a creative, the subject matter content that you're using as a spoken word artist is just that. It aligns with your professional interest. But I want to kind of stick at a point that it's important part. When we think about, you were really transparent, which I appreciate you sharing about like this isn't it. Like, where you are career wise, this isn't my dream situation. And a lot of us, like, I think have to like be honest with ourselves. But that is, I think it, what I've seen as a professional is sort of, individuals will throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, whether, I don't subscribe to working a 9 to 5 or, the career, so I can just focus on my art. My background has been in athletics, and I've seen so many people, with great athletic talent, just give up on like trying to maximize both. Like, you can be a professional athlete, outside of the NBA and still have a dual career or have a hustle. And so, and then on the flip side, we see probably more often, professionals go to corporate America or go to this job that they're not as energized, and it becomes a dead end, and just give up their dream of being a spoken word artist or athlete or a rapper, whatever their avenue is. So I want to kind of talk to you about that, because you were very transparent about like that sort of that tension of how do I navigate, being a professional. I got to provide for myself. I'm still growing in this area, but it's not necessarily what I'm most interested in, right? But also, like, as a creative, as a spoken word artist, you're monetizing the work that you do, and you're able to do both, right? And it's something to be said. So I'm curious to hear from your perspective, like, what is your mind frame navigating that, knowing that you're like this career isn't necessarily like the dream situation, but like I'm gonna do both to the best of my ability. So I'm curious to hear your mind frame and motivation behind that, and how you're navigating it, really.
I don't. I mean, literally, I go through the motions. It sounds like you're asking me, how do I navigate that mental space?
I guess probably. And
I know.
I mean, when
if you have to ask me, let me know.
I guess here's what I guess what I struggle with as a professional, right, is like if money wasn't an issue, I would definitely focus on building up my own businesses and devoting as much time and energy for rapping and producing, right? The reality, I can't financially do that. I got a family, I got 2 kids, a wife. I can't just jump ship because I won't be able to support myself, at least out the gate. But on the flip side, there's aspects about my career that I do enjoy, right? But it's certain things about, you know, working for we work for institutions. They're they in a lot of ways they have the pro is, you know, you have some stability professionally. We don't get rich working in higher education.
You gotta try.
You know, we are in this like it's easy to get to a plateau, right? So I'm thinking my question to you really is about like how are you making career decisions? Like what's sort of the motivation behind you, you know, going from certain moves in your career, and like how is your hope or your motivation to leverage yourself as an entrepreneur and a creative? Like what is sort of that motivation behind? Because obviously you've invested in getting a graduate degree. You've worked your way up from programming, your career development. So you're growing somewhere professionally. So you're making very intentional decisions. So I'm curious to hear from that standpoint, what's sort of the motivation behind how you're navigating that with your entrepreneurship and your career as a spoken word artist.
Yeah, so I haven't been making intentional decisions.
That's fair. Thank you.
And if they look like that, great. But I've just been literally falling in places and leaning into prayer and working out. Not even leaning into prayer sometimes. I'm just here, maybe I'm just leaning into my faith and knowing that God gonna work it out. Like I've been in situations where some other folk may have been like, oh my God, I'm in a situation right now where people all around me are just losing their mind. We're going through a whole like reorganization of our district into a one college model. So they're restructuring everything. So we're at a position where, as they put it, you're not reapplying for your job. You have the opportunity to apply for a new role, which in layman's terms, you ain't got no job. Like just that's what that means. Real. That's what that means. You ain't got no job. Right. But everybody's losing their minds, honey. Oh my God. They're like, I don't know what they say, but he ain't got no job. Okay. If they gonna lay you off, they gonna lay you off. If they not, they not. But I'm not about to sit up here and go through no anxiety about y'all like you dragging it out. Okay, well, you know, and if it happen, it happen. If it don't, it don't. But maybe I'm just.
Hi, at Lenore Coaching, we work with a wide variety of job seekers, including students, early career professionals, and experienced professionals, with services including job search strategy, career exploration, personal branding, networking, interview preparation, as well as resume and cover letter writing. So you guys can contact us first by reaching out to our website, which is www.lenorecoaching.com.
You can also contact us via social media. We have Instagram and Facebook pages, Lenore Coaching LLC.
Gotten to a point where I have been through enough shit. So I'm already engrossed in peace, and everything around my life has to bring me peace. You know, it's all about the energy transference. So if all of you was doing was making me anxious and nervous and on the edge and all this, we weren't meant to be together anyway. That wasn't for me. So if that situation removes from my life, you notice how I call it a situation. That situation removed from my life, it wasn't meant to be. So, okay, on to the next thing. So that means I will just, and then, so first I'm leaning into faith, then I'm leaning into prayer, because my faith is telling me that I'm going to be fine. You know, my God will supply all of your needs, not a portion of, not 10% of it. Not the ones you need today. Next week you're gonna think about it. I don't know. He's gonna decide all of your needs according to his riches and glory. He got everything I need. So now, you know, if it does come to pass that you ain't got no job or whatever the case is, I don't know what they're gonna figure out. What they're gonna figure out, but I know it's gonna happen over here. So now I'm leaning into prayer. I know a new job is coming. I know my bill's gonna get paid. I know a new job is coming. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what job it would be. but I'm leaning into prayer to say, Lord, please keep me sustained, keep my mind at ease, keep me, fortified, and whichever way you want me to go, and help me to see that direction. Keep my feet in line. So I ain't really made decisions. I had to stop getting myself into, post me having a child. She'll be 4 in a week. I had to get myself out of the, if this was me 5 years ago, I would have did this, or if this was the Alex in 2015, then I would have said, yeah, I would have moved to Florida. I would have did this. I would have, there's no if then, there's now what. But now Alex has a 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old who's dependent on her. Alex has to make rational and sound and logical decisions that will sustain the both of us, because there's no just me. Alex has to make decisions that will keep both of us sustained and our minds at ease, because she don't know nothing about. And that's another thing, if I'm sitting up here losing my doggone mind about whether or not they're gonna decide if I got a job, what's she gonna do? Because she don't care about none of that. Okay, right. All she know is I want my little pony, and can you come
that's right.
sleep in my bed tonight? She don't know about none of that. She don't care. Okay, and that's not her business too. Anyway, she's a child. Exactly. But it's but I chose to bring her here, so I have the responsibility to, and the pleasure and the opportunity of keeping her mind sustained. I gotta keep her mind sustained, as well as her body, her health. So
that's awesome.
I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, you did, and it's one of those things where a couple of things that you mentioned was like you haven't thrown out the baby with the bathwater in regards to, like, I have to make very logical decisions at the core of how you're navigating yourself as an artist, as an entrepreneur, and a professional, is really like you're driven in your motherhood and being able to provide, but also your faith is sort of like your centerpiece. And so from there, you're able to make very logical decisions, even if it's not planned out 2, 5, 10 years in advance. You're still making decisions to maximize your opportunities as an artist, as an entrepreneur, and making it work out. So I appreciate you sharing. I think that'll be really helpful for people that do listen in, knowing that it's not a clean cut situation. You started off really telling us that as we began here, it's really not clean cut, but how can you make strategic decisions that make sense based off of your value system and your responsibility?
Purpose driven living, that's the motto.